What's up, guys? James from Project Still Beating here. Today we're going to go over the whole Unbridled series and tell you guys race by race what happened and do sort of a review of the whole thing. So let's get this thing started. Alright, let's get this started. The Unbridled series is an adventure race series by 361 Adventures. It was a 3-race series this year that started with Greenbro Lake, which was a 6-hour race. Then we went to Ken Lake, which was an 8-hour race, and finished up with the Fig at Natural Bridge State Park, and this one was a 12-hour race. This was my first full adventure race season, and for this series I decided to run a 2-man team with Mark Phillips. This season was riddled with some bad luck for me, but I pushed through it and sucked it up and finished all the races. So let's talk a little bit about Greenbro. This was a 6-hour race, so it was nice to be able to have a little lighter pack than I'm used to, because we didn't need as much supplies and gear. So that was a plus right off the start. It started off on foot, and it was a nice little run / trek to get some checkpoints. Then we were off to the TA to start our paddle. We worked the paddle, picking up checkpoints along the way, and then at one of the checkpoints we decided by looking at the map that it was going to be better to do a little trek and get some more checkpoints. This is where my problem started. So we're running along, and I was running through a mud hole that some horses had done trampled through, and I got my foot caught in a hole that they had made, and my knee popped out and dislocated. I wasn't going to let this stop us, I'm Project Still Beating, and I got a teammate to think about and don't want to let nobody down. So we continued on, and we got a few more checkpoints out on that trek, and then we headed back to the boat. That's where we had to make a time decision. Due to it taking me so long on that trek, because of my knee, we decided not to do any more of the paddle, and we were just going to head back and finish that paddle and get to the TA and get our bikes and do some of the biking, because that's normally my strongest point. So we get back, get out of our paddle gear, get in our bike gear, and we head off to get some checkpoints. And while we're out on the biking, it doesn't take long to realize on a few of those climbs that normally I would be eating up, they were just giving my knee so much pain. And we got a checkpoint or two, and we decided we needed to head back to make sure that I was going to be able to make it back before the time limit was over. So that's what we did. And it wasn't as good a finish as we wanted, but it was an official finish, and that's all that mattered. But Greenbow Lake, it was a fun race. I'd like to do it again healthy, of course. But one unique feature of this particular race is they had one checkpoint that you could swim to if you wanted, so that was neat. 361 Adventures always has some kind of neat thing going on in their races. But enough about that one. Let's get started a little bit and talk about Ken Lake. Okay, so now for race number 2. For this race we headed to Ken Lake. This was an 8-hour race with a lot later start than we were used to, because most of this was going to be after dark. So that definitely made it worthwhile. I had no physical injuries for this race, but I definitely had some emotional ones. A lot of people didn't know it, but I went through a bad breakup with my fiance less than a week before this race. So my mental game was definitely not up to par, and my head was just way out of the game. But like with the knee injury at Greenbow, I sucked it up and finished the race, because that's what we do here at Project Still Beating. We overcome any and all obstacles. The race was about what I expected from Ken Lake, though. I love the mountain bike parts. I always love the mountain bike parts at Ken Lake. I know my first race there, I made up so much time on the mountain bike. But this one was really special because I like the mountain biking on the way out to the trek, but on the way back, it was already dark, so it was basically a total night trail ride, and I absolutely loved that. It's just great to get out in the woods and be on your bike. But with that said, Ken Lake, the paddle is also miserable, just as always. The water's always really choppy here, and I never enjoy the paddle at Ken Lake. Although this time it was a little different because we tried out being in the canoe instead of the twin kayaks, but it didn't help. The water was still so choppy and it was absolutely miserable on the water. So that's all I can say about the paddling. On the trek, we also did a lot more bushwhacking than usual. And it worked for us, you know. We got to everything and we found everything we was looking for. So it's just a little different aspect. You know, we tried things a little bit different here at Ken Lake. And overall, we did pretty great in the race. I was proud of our finish and had a really good time. It was another great race in the series. And we just got one more to go. So I guess we got to get ready for the fig now. Okay, now for race number 3, the season finale for the Unbridled series. This was a 12-hour adventure race that was in Natural Bridge State Park and surrounding areas, and it's known as the Fig. I came into this race with injuries. About a month before the race, I had tore some ligaments in my thumb, so I wasn't even able to train on my bike till about a week before the race. And then a couple of weeks before the race, I got a really bad chest cold, and it was affecting my breathing, so I couldn't do any running, any biking, anything like that, and it was still affecting me at the race. But you know this ain't going to stop me. I'm always going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to finish the race. For this race, we were actually bused to our start, so that was definitely different. But there was many other things that was going to be different about this. During our check-in the night before in our check-in packs, we actually got a postcard, and for the first checkpoint of the race after the race started, we actually went to a post office and mailed those postcards to people, you know, trying to get them interested in adventure racing, and that was the first checkpoint. After that, we was on to a run to get to the paddle, and you know my luck with paddles. So we get there and we get the boats in the water, and I'm trying to put my paddle together, and it's not cooperating. It's not going together all the way. I don't know if it had something on it. I mean, I tried wiping it off, but we could not get it to go. So basically, I would start paddling, and it'd start working its way loose, and I'd turn it back, and try to get going. And we just kept paddling from there. So definitely not a great paddle for us, but we did what we had to do. Got some checkpoints along the way, and then we was out of the water and onto an urban O course. This thing was super fun. I've never did an urban O course in an adventure race, but it was definitely fun. Visiting little shops to get checkpoints and stuff like that. One of them even had free coffee and hot chocolate if you wanted it. So definitely something that was really awesome. So then we trekked on to the bike TA, where we picked up the bikes, and from there we were on the bikes for a good while. We had a lot of miles for sure, stopping at checkpoints and TAs along the way. At the TAs, we would go on trekking sections for a little while and then back to the bikes and on to the next one. On one of these trekking sections, I actually climbed the steepest hill that I've ever tried to walk up myself. The only thing I've climbed that's any steeper than this hill would actually be rock climbing, where I've got ropes around me and everything. So this thing was super steep. But the last trekking section of the day, it actually had a blow-up palm tree checkpoint, which actually had beer in it, so that was great. Overall, this was a great race and a great way to wrap up the season. I was very happy with this race. Alright, so overall, the Unbridled series was an absolute success. I had a blast doing it. I hated that the season ended. Next year, we're probably going to do the Unbridled, but we're also looking at doing the 18-hour series, so I'm really excited about that. And I look forward to seeing what surprises 361 Adventures has for us for the 18-hour series. And who knows, we may even do the 48-hour race out in Colorado. But big hats off to 361 Adventures. for a great season, and I look forward to seeing everyone next season. If you like this video from Project Still Beating, click down here in the corner and watch another one. And while you're at it, click up here in the corner and subscribe. Make sure and follow us on those social media sites and smash that like button down below. And as always, thanks for sharing my adventure with me today.